Hey, welcome to Learning Self-Reliance. My name is Roland, and today we're going to be making a top feeder for our beehives. My wife and I, our bees did not collect nearly enough honey to last throughout the year, through the winter, and so we're going to be making some in-hive feeders today. I've got a couple of the ingredients, and I'll take you guys in for a close-up. We'll talk about how this is going to work. This is a medium super, and we've already got some of these lying around because they were used for collecting honey. And I've got a baking tin is here as well. This is going to be the main thing that's going to hold the sugar water in the winter. Let me take you in for a close-up. We'll talk about how this is going to work. All right, here's what we got. This is just a disposable baking tin. This is made out of aluminum. And this is a, let's see here, this is a 16 by 11 by 2.5 inch baking tin. And what we're going to do is this is going to be inside and it's going to be filled with sugar water later. This was a little bit too big for this medium super, so I'd recommend going something a little bit smaller than the 16 by 11. I just bent up the edges here. So this is out flat. I just bent this side up and the other side as well up so that it fits a little bit better in here. On this side, what we're going to have is a little path that the bees can come up and over this lip in an enclosed with wire mesh here. They can come in, get down to the bottom where the sugar water is, but it'll be so enclosed in mesh that they can't get out into this area. So the lid will go on top of this. We'll have a bottom board underneath all of this that this will be resting on top of. And that I'll have, so far this is the idea. I haven't seen anybody do exactly this. This idea is, I got it from this a couple of YouTube videos and the random stuff looking around online and decided that this is gonna be my method to do this. But the major idea came from this guy on YouTube called Fat Bee Man, so you guys can look him up. But we're gonna have a little path that comes up here, surrounded, made out of wood, that will come up, and then right here it'll start to be mesh, and it'll go into here that the bees can drink this sugar water. So it's actually just starting to rain right now, so it looks like I don't have to postpone this, but I do have some of this Mylar, looks kind of like bubble wrap. But they sell it at the hardware store. This was like 10 bucks for this whole thing. And this is gonna go underneath so that the bees don't have to heat up all that sugar water. It's gonna insulate the hive as well. Well, keep watching and we'll get this thing built. All right. First thing I gotta do with this is cut a bottom board for this. So this is gonna be pretty straightforward. I got my pencil here. I'm just gonna draw an outline around the edge that's the same size as this medium super here. Just like that. Okay. Got my line done here. Now I'm just going to cut this out and we'll have the bottom board mostly done. I apologize for all the noise in the background, but my neighbors are redoing their roofs, so they're doing a lot of nailing right now. Light in the socket is always so useful. Gotta say, I am not extremely skilled when it comes to woodworking. Let's see this here. This is my dad's saw that I borrowed. Looking pretty decent. I think I went a little bit in, a bit too much over here. That's all right. This doesn't have to be precise. The bees don't really care. There we go. Just gonna cut that little bit off. With my Leatherman, I don't want to damage this too much more. And I'm sure anybody who's watching that's really good with woodworking has got a lot to complain about right now. But I'm sure it's all going to work out. Okay, let's test out the side of this and see how it looks. Let's actually toss this on top here. Pretty decent. It's a little bit wide on this side, about a 1/4 inch too long. Over here it's about 1/4 inch too short. Good enough. Now I'm just going to make 3 more of those, and we'll be done with the bottom boards for now. So first off, I'm going to start off with drawing a line across the front of this, so I don't have to have this thing in there the whole time. This line is where, behind here, this is the space I've got to work with. You know what, let's draw a line as well for the box, okay? So I'm not planning to go all the way to the edges over here of the box, so I don't think that I need to draw these lines as well. It's just going to be within right here. So I'm going to have something like several holes cut right here, kind of in an oval hole through this, and I'll probably end up centering it or something a bit more later. And then I'm going to have some slices of wood come straight up. Alright, sorry, I decided to zoom in that camera for you guys. So I've got this hole that we're going to drill out a bunch of times with the drill. We're going to have some wood coming straight up out of here, along with another board out of here. Then I'm probably also going to want another one inside of here as well. Something like that. This needs to be thin because the bees will build out comb in this area if it's too big. So this is honestly, this is probably too big. I mean, that's probably about a bee, and that's probably about a bee. So that might actually be just about right to have about 2 bees length in between here, and then hopefully they won't build out any comb here because they don't have the length to do that with. Let's redo that line with a sharper pencil here. Something kind of like that. Okay. So the wood I've got to do this part with is this, looks like a 1x2 or something like that. Let me move this back just a smidge so it's not running into my house. Let's see how this is going to look. Do we have enough room to work in this much of a confined space with this piece of wood first off? Let's see how high the tin is compared to this. Alright, so that's a lot. The tin is a lot higher. I could trim this off, which I very, very well do. Okay, let's cut off 2 pieces of wood, something like that. I'll just do 2 of the same thing when I slice it. Got a little guide here to help me get this part a little bit more square. Alright, decided to go with using my bench for what I actually intended it for, which is to cut wood on it. Something like that. Let's get this nice and flush up to here. You know what? I'm gonna hold this whole thing down with a vise. Slice through this here. There we go. Okay. Slice into my guide a little bit, but that's okay. It's pretty much new, so it's probably got a little bit to work off. Okay. Pretty good. Let's do a second one of those. There we go. Okay. Alright. Got 2 nearly identical blocks. That's not too bad. Not too bad. I actually like this little block here. Can't remember what it's called, a meter box. I like it. We're gonna have these 2 like this, something like that. Good. You know what? I do want this flush with the outside of the box. That way you can slide this whole thing in and it's gonna be in the same spot every time, which is gonna be a little bit nice. So now I need these squares right here, which are gonna be longer than I drew. Not really surprised. Okay, let's get the length of that and slice it up. Okay, something like that. Let's mark the next one after that. Might as well. Something like that. Okay. Well, it's starting to move. Can't have that. Not with something that's going to have to be so exact. The bottom boards don't have to be so exact. This Good. Let's cut the second one. There we go. Okay, 2 blocks. Those are actually pretty good as well. These 2 blocks here. Pretty good. These do have a little crack running through them. I really don't think that's going to be a big deal. They're on the end, so my theory behind this is that if I make it wide, bees will come up and not be able to really crawl on top of each other. If it was a big hole, they'd kind of get in this mess on top of each other and they might drown. So I'm thinking if I can make it thin so that only one bee can get in and out in their row each time, they won't drown so much. Maybe have a second row on top or something because they like to go upside down, so they can go upside down to the water. I tried to make these square, but they're still a tiny bit off, which isn't such a big deal. The bees can certainly not fit through this tiny little slot. So the bees aren't going to escape and drown. Okay. This is what it's going to look like. Getting there, getting there. Let's see how tall the box is compared to the rest of this. That'll tell us how much room we've got to go up. This guy's going to be flush against this, in theory. I doubt I'll really get it perfect. That. Let's see, can I go up a whole nother layer? Yeah, I can. So I've still got plenty of room before the max of this, which is another inch and a half or so. So I can make a second layer of these, which is not what I was hoping to do. That's going to weaken it significantly. I could rotate these instead of cutting them like this. I could have them like this and go upward instead. I don't want this as wide as these are though. I'm pretty sure they're going to fill that with some comb. Don't know why, but they just have this incessant need to just fill every tiny crevice with comb. Oh, it's frustrating. Okay, and I don't really want to have to pull this stuff apart. Okay, so what I'm going to need to do is go up twice the length of this and recut these guys. So these guys are kind of waste for right now. So I need to be twice the width of these. So let's just use these 2 blocks. That's our measuring stick. I knew that'd come in handy. Mark that. Slice this guy up. Let's give that a visual check and see how that looks. Well, would you look at that? They're actually about the same size. I just eyeballed that and they're like all the same size. That's really unexpected and weird. Okay. I gotta have a layer on top of this. I'm gonna use one of these short guys just to sit on top to kind of visualize how high this is gonna come. So I really don't have much more room to go up. I've got maybe another one of these, maybe, that I could go up. I wonder if I can just have a regular old 45-degree angle coming down. I think that's the best bet, to just attempt to do a 45-degree angle off of this coming downward. I gotta remember that it's this tall though. I'm gonna cut one of these at a 45-degree angle, something like that. It's gonna come straight down here, and I'll make it this long. Quickly consuming all of my wood here. Not a big deal, this is only a couple bucks. Can grab another one for a couple bucks. Sounds of the city. Gunshots and police sirens and other joys. Okay, there's that one. I need to do a 45-degree angle on this, which is going to be about like that. Got my 45, let's just mark that right there. 45, something like that. I'll do the same thing on the other side. Wait. I need to have it inverted. I need to have it inverted. Something like that. So like that. Start off with this outer 45 degree. This spot has not been sliced at all, so I'm expecting a lot of resistance from this thing. Let's do this 45. There we go. Okay, 45 there. I'm not really sure about this. Let's look at the length here. Well, from the tip, yeah, this corner right here. This actually might be a little bit too long. Actually, the height It's going to be about half. Yeah, the height is going to be one of these thick, going down here, which might be a little bit too long. Let's just cut this, use that as my base, actually right at the spot right now, which is great. Okay, there we go. Let's visualize this. From the top of this guy to right here, that's pretty good. And the tip of the mesh is going to come down a little bit and get into the sugar. Just put these together just so I can visualize how tall this is going to be. Something like that. The height of this container is too high. But I don't want to go any higher than this, and that's still like a gallon or two's worth, even if I slice it off somewhere about here, in the middle here. But this, no, that won't work. This is way too big. This is so big that the bees are going to fill this with comb, for sure. So I gotta have this. They might not want to build comb on the mesh, I'm not sure. So the mesh could be a natural deterrent for them not to build comb in this spot, which is going to be half this. Huh. So I forgot one critical ingredient, the insulation, which is going to take up a quarter of an inch. But I'm going to take this out and slice up a piece, and we'll take that into account with this. Let's go ahead and slice this. Might be winging this stuff a bit too much. Slice this across. So this insulation is on the inside to make it so the bees don't have to insulate or to heat up all this sugar water sitting on top of their hive. Man, I can feel that right here. I can feel the heat coming back on my hands. This stuff is great. Okay. This guy's sitting on top. Let's check our sizes here. Let's put these two right next to each other, and the insulation's a little bit too big, not a big deal. We'll fix it up later. Just get these close enough that I can kind of visualize. We haven't had a snow yet this year, but it smells like snow to me right now. Doesn't smell like rain, it smells like snow. So I've got this mounted on a V on my bench here, which I've got cut out, and I've got a extra piece of wood, which you can use for other stuff, part of the project, up here to help me kind of get a 90-degree slice on this using the bottom of this and this guy. So hopefully I can get a decent 90-degree angle right here. So let's give this a shot. I've never done something like this before. It's definitely a first for me. Come on, just got to get it started. Got to keep it flush with the block on top though, that's my line. I have a feeling the bottom's not going to be very good. I don't feel like I'm quite lined up with it. There we go. Just trying to get that smooth right at the end there. I did cut into my top block a little bit here, but it's pretty good. It's not too bad. That was my line, I guessed, on the other side. Here we go. Got this horrible knot right there. Let's give this a shot and see how this fits over top of the tin. Just got this on top just to kind of visualize how this guy's gonna work. But it's gonna be moved later. Okay. This guy comes over. Ooh, that is tight, which is perfect. I want this really, really tight. That is perfect. Okay. Let me take you guys, show you from a different angle about how this is going to work. Okay, so these two columns here will be wider than this one is. This guy is 45 degree. Is going to meet up flush with this. And actually, I probably won't have to slice this. That's perfect. It's going to come down. There's going to be wire mesh stapled over to here, underneath here, all the way up here, flat. That looks great. I think that's actually going to work. I think it'll actually work. Holy cow. This is definitely one of the most complicated wood things I've ever done. And I'm sure there's plenty of master woodworkers out there laughing at that. This is probably pretty trivial for a lot of people, but this is a stretch for me. Just as a side note for anybody, this stuff is great for a bug out bag. If you want to do it cheap, you can get a roll of this. I think it's like 3 feet wide, or maybe something like that. Something like that. You can get like 3 or 4 feet wide, about 10 bucks, $10, $20. Then you can slice off a roll for yourself, maybe double it up. And you can sleep on top of this as some insulation from the ground, which is one of the most important things to keeping warm at night. All right, I was just visualizing this again, and I realized that if this guy's up so high, right here, this is going to be as high as this goes. There's going to be mesh coming up right here from this, under here. And this spot right here is going to be totally open. And that's a pretty large, that's probably like a roll of toilet paper or something right there. That large of an area. This is going to have another one coming up, and this will be flush over top. But this area is going to be quite large. They might fill that with comb, but I really doubt they're going to. So I'm going to leave it like this. Only have one of these and then have 2 of these on the other side, and have one coming across top here. And this is what we're gonna do. We'll see how this is gonna go. There we go. Oh, holy cow, that was a lot of work, but I think that's gonna work. Let's I think what we'll do is I will put this whole thing together with just some nails, and we'll leave the mesh off for just a minute. We'll get this all together and we'll see how this looks. There we go. Got one. This wood's getting split. Can't do that. Can't do that. Alright, so I moved this guy over here in an attempt to hold this all still while I hammer it together. Oh, that is just terrible right there. That's going to split. I'm going to have to pre-drill all these. We're going to re-drill these with my Works Well Enough drill. Okay. Okay. Ooh, that just barely works. This is what it looks like with all this put together. The back is sealed up. This is going to be flush against the side of the super. The mesh is going to come up underneath here, back over top. So we'll be able to climb down here, get sugar water. Honestly, this looks pretty good. I was a little bit worried when I was putting it together, and it's not put together the best. I need to drill this out in the future. One thing I had to change was drilling these holes out before I put the nails in. I'll slice this, hopefully as wide as this guy is, about right here-ish. Got some cheap scissors here I don't mind ruining. We're just going to slowly cut this line back. Just going to hold this up like this. Pretty close. Let's get another 2 inches on there just to be safe. Cheap scissors for the win. Let's start off with stapling this bottom right here. No, let's start off at the top. Start off at the top. Try and get it nice and square. This is not the world's most powerful stapler, so I'm sure it's going to have some issues holding this all down, getting there deep enough. That's all right. It's all right. Make sure it's taut at least. The staples might be a bit too long for this project or for this stapler, really. Yeah. Too far to the left there. Hopefully you guys can still see with this light. Getting really close. Really close. Might not really get super tight underneath here. Heck, I might need to. Uh-oh. All right, I'm gonna do it on the side like this. That's how I'm gonna have to do it. Which is gonna be difficult because this stuff is really, really weak. I want to hold it up with my knee. Doesn't need to be super strong. Bees aren't that strong. Gotta be tight. If this moves over, bees will be able to get through and they'll die. I can't let that happen. I don't want a whole colony to drown during the winter. This stapler is just terrible. This project really highlights how much I need a new stapler. It's just barely functioning. It's a bit wider than I was hoping, but this guy is going to tighten it up, not give them room to mess around with. Man, this thing is so ugly, but I think it'll work just fine. Put the insulation under. It's going to just barely fit. Wow, check that guy out. That just barely worked. I'm sure the next one's going to be a lot better, but whew. I think it'll function just fine for the bees, though. This is the hive we captured. They're probably our weakest hive, sort of.
Well,
now that things have changed, and we're going to give them, they've got the least honey. They've got the least honey for certain. I mean, I can lift up the back of this, and it feels like maybe 5 pounds, which is nothing for honey. So what we're gonna do is pull this off, put the new feeder on top. So right now, I'm just looking through this, making sure there aren't any little holes that I didn't notice before. It looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. Everything was kind of wiggly. You can do it. They've got a lot of propolis in there. That's what's going on.
Ah, much better.
Yeah, this hive looks good.
Happy hive.
Yep, so we're gonna have to brush those girls off. Okay, there we go. This looks like a weird soccer stadium. Got the brush.
You have to be gentle.
That'll be better. Okay. There's that.
Is that good?
Set it over there. I'm going to fill this with sugar water. Do this part very slowly so we don't splash a ton. I'm going to use that as my breaker.
Oh, that's a good idea. That works really well. Is the hole open for them to discover it?
Yeah, it's right there.
Oh, it's going to overflow.
It is? But how close was that?
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong angle.
What? It's leaking?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It's leaking. Where?
Okay, take it off. Okay.
What? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's a pan. It's a pan.
It must have
Oh my
broken when I
gosh.
put it on.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
I must have broken the pan while putting it in. They've got sugar water in there. That's not going to hurt them.
They'll figure it out.
Okay. Well, I screwed up. I must have punctured the tin while I was putting in. So I'm going to have to put in a different tin, make new sugar water for these girls. Okay, we need to get this sealed so they don't get robbing right now.
Okay.
The lid is wherever you put it.
Maybe the tin, Roland, isn't strong enough to hold a liquid.
No, it is. I'm sure I broke it.
You've tested it?
No, but people cook juices in there at Thanksgiving.
Yeah, but not that much
Juicy
juice.
turkeys.
The turkey only lets off a few cups of juice.
Okay, there's going to be some robbing behavior. I think we should cover them with this other blanket. And my leg's all covered in sugar now. All right, so unfortunately, I must have punctured this pan while putting it in. Dang it. So what we're going to have to do is soak this into water to hopefully discourage bees from robbing and fighting each other right now. Get this out of the way. We can just leave this over here. It might have a little bit of sugar and some bees will pick it up. This hive's looking pretty good. Did smush a bee apparently. Ooh. Just had a bee launch at me. Okay. Let's make their day a bit better with some free sugar water. There we go. Let's grab the box. So this is our medium super, unmodified. Nothing special about this box. Well, it's a honey super. That's the only thing special about it. And now we're just gonna fill this with some sugar water, and hopefully tomorrow when we come back outside, we've got lots of bees just lapping this stuff up. We're gonna need a lot more than we've got here, so tomorrow we can come out and put some more in. There we go. It reached saturation level for the aluminum screen. There we go. Now I just gotta make sure that this box is firmly seated. I see a little corner over here up. That can't be allowed. I should have done that before I filled it with sugar water, but I didn't see it until just now. So I'm just gonna have to use my brush here, pull this insulation up. These girls right here, blowing, they're probably sending out a pheromone saying, here's the entrance, because they got a bit disoriented. So they're guiding their sisters back to the entrance here. Good job, girls. All right, here we are next day. So far, so good. It's kind of hard to see through this mesh here, but there's a lot of bees going around. They're going down to the side, getting themselves some sugar water. That's mission accomplished.